99X. It's the Morning X. Barnes and Leslie, you know, there is a 99X app. And what's wild is people are finding out every day that we're back. Hey, we're back. You can listen on the app. You can listen on Sonos Local. You can listen on Alexa. You can listen on Google, Apple Music, and as always, at 99x.com, which it's wild that we didn't have those. You know, back in the day, we were on the internet, but we weren't, you know, obviously there weren't apps and Sonos and all that.
We're worldwide now, Barnes.
But we were worldwide then.
Yes.
Delta is worldwide, and they are worldwide getting pounded right now with all of the very abrupt things they rolled out for their frequent flyer program that they were saying they're rolling out at the beginning of the year. Have you followed this at all in Nashville?
Yeah. Does this have a lot to do with limiting people to the Sky Club Lounge for people that have, you know, American Express Platinum cards?
That's just a tiny part of it. They're making, for instance, I fly a lot for my business, obviously.
Yeah, you do.
And so I'm what's called a Diamond Medallion, which is their top tier that's published. There's a 360 above that, but they make you spend X amount of dollars.
Yes.
And then you also have to travel X amount of miles. But they're getting rid of the travel part. The X amount of miles doesn't matter anymore. Now It's all about the money.
About how much you spend on your card?
No, about how much you spend on Delta.
Oh, that's what it is.
So they've upgraded it over years. It used to be you had to spend $15,000 in tickets and have the miles to be Diamond. And then they moved it up to $17,500 last year. And now this year it's $20,000. Well, It's going to $35,000.
What?
Yeah. So basically, the lounges are going to be wide open, but there's many other things. We have a blogger we're going to bring on here in just a second. I want to flash back to Delta CEO Ed Bastian when he was on with us.
Yeah.
I brought up the problem with the Sky Club. I mean, I asked him point blank about that, and you can almost hear in his voice that something else was coming. And this wasn't that long ago. Let's go back to that. I want to represent the frustration of people like me who sometimes you show up and the Sky Club is just jammed, overpacked. Are you guys addressing this in any way?
Oh, absolutely. And listen, I share that frustration. We are building more clubs. We've opened 5 clubs this year alone, from Kansas City to additional club at JFK to building out two new clubs over here in Atlanta, as well as other parts of the country. We are adding additional features, including a touch and go, where if you get to the club and it's crowded, you don't want to go in, you just want to grab something and go and continue on through the day. We're making that option available to you as well. And we're working to continue to expand capacity. The challenge we've had is we've built a great product and people love it, and that's great. And we're doing our very best to kind of keep those lines moving. And they're getting better, by the way. Last year was really, really crowded. And as we go past that, and I don't even go into the clubs anymore because I don't want to take any space away from customers like yourselves, or, by the way, our employees, unless they got a paying ticket that they're in the club membership. So we've really done our very best to make certain that we're putting our customers first and giving them the product that they deserve.
Well, thanks for not getting mad at me for asking that, because I felt like I had to say it because people have been frustrated, and I'm your biggest frequent flyer ever. I am so in the pool, it's crazy. And one of the funny things on the plane, I said to him, "Yeah, I'm like, this is my 9th year Diamond in a row," and he looks at me and says, "Well, that's great because I'm gold." Ed Bastian is gold on Delta. Love it. So we're back. That was kind of classic diversion.
Well, because on the recent trip I took, we paid to get into the club, right? We paid the $50.
Yeah.
And it was so crowded, I didn't even want to be in there.
Right, but did you notice how he was like, "Oh yeah, we're doing something about it"? Like, if you could only know the context of then. So I want to bring on, this is a blogger I have followed for years on Twitter. His name is Renee, and his website is eyeoftheflyer.com.
Ooh, I like that.
Hey, good morning, Renee.
Good morning, Barnes. Leslie, thanks for having me on your show.
Of course. Now, you're careful because you're in the homeland. You're permeating through the Atlanta airwaves right now, and you know who's listening.
Yeah. Well, Virginia Avenue, good morning.
Yeah, exactly. So with all of this, we were talking about the setup of what's going on, and now Ed Bastian, who was on our show a couple of months ago, I think it's been 6 weeks, is now he's going to walk back some of these drastic changes, right? Is that the word?
Yeah, that kind of came out. Delta definitely had their new Coke moment here. They managed to make virtually every Delta flyer angry in one day, and that's really saying something. They angered the frequent flyers who have had medallion status for years by making it insanely expensive to keep what you had achieved in 2025. And then everybody who had Sky Club access with their $700 credit card, they said, you're not going to get to come unlimited times to our Sky Clubs anymore. In one trip, you could burn half of your new allotted visits.
I was shocked to see the number $7 billion. $7 billion is what Delta makes in a year on the Amex sponsorship or partnership?
Yep. Yeah. Few people know this, that Delta isn't actually an airline. It's a points program that happens to fly a lot of airplanes. And because they're just making, tons of money from this. And they've done well. I mean, they've marketed it well. Everyone loves it. But the problem is they did it really well and everyone loves it. And there's too many people coming.
Let me ask you this, because who is paying attention here? When they announced this, did they not realize the backlash that would happen?
Well, and that's the thing. Delta has for many years now been devaluing their program, but they've gotten away with everything they've done for years. They made it harder to achieve status. Everybody said, well, it's still worth it. They made the points worth less, but, you live in Atlanta, it's still worth it. Everything they've sort of done, it's still been worth it. But this might be the time they just took it that step too far by literally making everybody angry all at once.
We're talking to Renee from Eye of the Flyer. He has got his hand on the Delta action. I've followed you for years. We've chatted on Twitter for years, but this is the first time we've actually ever spoke. What do you think could be walked back now that they're saying, like, for Diamond, you have to spend, $35,000 on Delta tickets? No one's going to do that except...
That's crazy.
Like, insane business people, and that's going to be a very small percentage. What could they do, Renee, or what do you expect they might do?
Well, the analogy is, the frog in the boiling pot. If you slowly turn up the heat, which is what they've been doing for years, the frog stays in, but if you make it really, really hot, they jump out. So, they're really in damage control right now, and they're in trouble because, you've got Alaska who, keeps winning awards as doing status matches, and so are some a lot of airlines, and they're afraid, so they do need to walk this back in a hurry. And a lot of flyers are taking that wait and see, and let's see how far they roll it back. So, make the spending not quite so much.
Well, what's weird is they've already cranked it down so hard. I thought $20,000 spend a year for Diamond was extreme, and they go to 35. So even if they back it back to 30 or 25, that's not good enough.
Well, that's true, and that's where people are going to start reevaluating. They're going to say, I made the step this year at the beginning of the year before all this rolled out, and I've been a Diamond for years. And I said, it's just not worth it anymore. It's not worth the hassle and the effort. It used to be. It used to be for the free upgrades, but, now they're selling the upgrades so cheap, most people just buy in the first class. So, it's the crumbs on the table are no longer worth the effort. And I think that's where the problem for Delta is going to be. They've really done the rip the Band-Aid off thing, and everybody's now going, wait a minute. Yeah, is it really worth it? Or should I fly other airlines now, even out of Atlanta?
Well, let me ask you something. Are people reacting by, canceling their Amex cards?
Well, we don't have the hard data that Amex does, but it's sure, from the chatter everywhere around the web, it sure seems like that is the case. that people are dumping their cards. Also, with the new program, you used to be incentivized to have multiple cards and do spending on multiple cards. Under the new program, you only really need one. So, dump the others. And some people are doing it just reactionary. They're like, okay, I'm so angry, I'm canceling right now.
I'm considering it. I've had the Delta Reserve card forever, but to your point, I can never get that upgrade. You just have to pay for the ticket if you want to sit in a certain seat because you're not going to get it. You're not going to get cleared. Used to be a diamond, you would get cleared. I would get cleared all the time. Now, no. I could be 20 people deep, which is crazy to me because I travel nonstop.
Yeah.
I'd be better off on a card that paid, with like 2% cash back than I would taking those fantasy miles. All right, Renee, where's the best place for people to find you? Where do you want us to send them?
So, theflyer.com, you're going to learn all about Delta and everything else. If you're into cruising, frequentfloaters.com. Those are our two sites that we maintain. It's great to talk to you, Leslie and Barnes.
Thank you.
You as well. I enjoy following you on X and appreciate your time today. Take it easy.
Thanks.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.
How you doing?
99X.